Welcome back, friends and fam. You're here with N828 and this is Cross Beats Production. So I want to show you guys this beat breakdown and do a behind the beat as I usually do every once in a while. So if you guys are familiar with my channel, one thing I want to say to you guys is thank you for subscribing, thank you for likes, thank you for all the comments and all that good stuff. And if you don't like the video, you know, just be one of those guys, but that's cool. So let's get straight into this beat breakdown, and I want to show you how I made this beat and explain to you a couple of behind the scenes stuff. Some of it I'll just break down into this video. I'll do another part 2 to this video and break down maybe the rest of it in that, or maybe even a part 3, just depends on how long this first video goes. So let's get straight into the beat, and I'll play that out to you so you guys can hear it. If you're familiar with my video for my tape emulation, soft tube tape emulation review, you would have heard this beat. Otherwise, I'll play it to you and you can hear it for the first time. So let's get straight into that right now. Alright, cool. So that's the basics of the beat. Obviously it goes further, you can see that. So the beat basically started on this musical box thing that I've played out. It actually started with a piano, and that's the sound that I always usually start with whenever I create beats. Generally, I normally start with the piano because I know the piano sound and I'm used to that. And especially when I play keys, it's easier to hear when things are out of tune as well. For the most part though, this was played in the key of A minor, and I used a lot of the chord assistant tools, as you can see here, natural minor, to create the scale. So this pretty much is played out in ARP, and like I said, it was in piano, and I just played that out as a generic kind of ARP thing, and got that key sort of sound there. It sounds like a bell type thing. So the instrument that I'm using is a stock instrument within Studio One, and you guys, if you're using Studio One or you're not using Studio One and you are looking at it, there are some really good VSTs in Studio One. I dare say they might not be as good as maybe the stock ones that you get in Logic, for example, the Alchemy and things like that, but they are pretty good. So this Presence XT is what I used. The music box is the actual stock, I guess, preset that I had. And I just kind of edited it a bit. I changed up the attack, changed the decay, and changed the release. And a bit of the cutoff was changed, and I put some, just different things onto it. For example, delay and reverb. So that's pretty much the stock VST, like I said. I'll play that out to you now. Alright, cool. So that's the basic kind of stock thing that I got going on there. Next thing was the drums, and these drums are pretty much just played out in a MIDI format at this stage. As you can see, I'll just open this up a bit larger so you can see the whole project. So pretty much everything's still in MIDI with the drums, and I like to leave it like that right now just because of the fact that I haven't bounced it anywhere yet, and I've pretty much mixed it how it is and it worked out alright. So one reason why I keep in MIDI with drums in Studio One and I use it within the Sample One project is because when you hit your drums, for example, if you hit the kick, I'll just go down to the kick. you can actually tune your kick, for example, which is what I did. This kick that I first got was an Atlanta kick that I found in my bunch of samples, and I got the kick, pulled it into Studio One, basically got open up a thing of Melodyne, and I pretty much brought the kick down to the closest key that it was at. So it was a couple of cents up or above. I don't know what it was on. I think it was an F or something like that. So I brought it down to the F, completely zero with F, and it was right on the right key of F. Then I tuned it within Studio One. Actually, it was G. There you go. So there's the answer. So it was on G, and I brought it down to be on a C. So when I play the C key, it's actually now playing C. So then I can play C sharp or whatever I want to play. So that's a key thing that you can use just to get your drums in key of the track. And I would highly recommend, if you're using samples or even a kit, if you're playing real drums, to get them into the right key of the song. It definitely helps with mixing. It helps with the song sounding professional. It helps with you playing just the right key of everything that you've got going on in your track. So as you can see here, it's actually in the key of A. So I just played the drums in key of A, and all of these are sampled out using that sample one there. So that's basically that. Again, with the snares, I've got a lot of snares in this track. I've pretty much got about 3 or 4, I think, to be honest. So no, actually 3. So 3 snares, and then a close hi-hat, and this other sort of chant thing that I made. Now, snares are kind of interesting because with kicks, sometimes you can stack them, sometimes you don't have to. The kick that I actually have, I didn't need to stack it. All I did was tune it, and that was it. The snares, though, on the other hand, I stacked my snares 3 times because the snare that I first chose, I'll just play that to you so you can hear it. This is the first snare. Nothing wrong with that snare. It sounds awesome. I like the sound of the snare, the tune of it, and just the way it is. It sounds good. But it definitely is a little bit weak for the track, and it definitely needed a bit more guts to it. So all I did was then get another snare, and again, I did the exact same thing with Melodyne. I just got the snare sample that I had, put it into Studio One. Actually, I might just show you how it works. So without messing around too much, I'll just show you guys. So let's get into, say for example, I'm using, alright, we'll drop in Maschine, just for the sake of it, to show you guys quickly. And wait for that to load. Alright, so say for example you get your kick, right? I'll just get a kit here. Alright, so that's let's just go with that for the sake of time. Move the rest of it out. Alright, so say for that example, that's my kick. I'll just bounce the kick out, put it into my project, and that's it there. So I'll just delete that, don't need that anymore. Now, come on. Alright, cool. Now, basically what I would normally do is I move it to wherever I want it in the track and just turn the volume down, because as you can see here with this instrument, the kick's quite loud, so you don't want to have something like that loud going into your sample one. So just turn down the kick so it's a reasonable loudness, and then just rebounce it. So what you can do is go into your edit with Melodyne. So you hit edit with Melodyne and go to the algorithm, which is melodic, and just go redetect. It's going to open up a stupid tab for whatever reason. I don't know, it does that, but we'll just close it off. So actually it didn't do it. Awesome. So as you can see here, the pitch is kind of in between A and G sharp, and it kind of sounds weird, especially if you're using a sample for your track, and your track's in the key of A and you've got some kind of weird pitched kick. So what I would recommend doing, you can just get this, put it down to 0, so you can put it straight to the key of G sharp or whatever you want it to be on. The closest kind of thing that you can find, because kind of pitching stuff like this, it doesn't sound too good if you go all the way up with it. So like I said, you can change it to that. So you've got your root note there now. So just X out of that and then just rebounce it. And you'll see in a second that we've got the sample again. Okay, so awesome. I've got the sample there. All I have to do now is just highlight that, press 0 on my keyboard, and that's a shortcut that I've set. So they've got my sample 1 now. And basically then sample 1 is right here. So if I press C, that's going to play the key of, I think it was F, yeah, F or whatever it was. So if I then move down, so say for example it's on the key of F, and I play F, or F sharp or whatever it might have been on, you just move your C up to the G or F or wherever you want it to be at, wherever the key of that kick was originally. I think it was F or G, whatever it was anyway. And then you can play your C, and then you'll have the kick at the right key of tune. So we'll just move it down so it's at a higher octave again. There we go. So my middle C, which is the C on the keyboard in the middle, that's actually now playing a C for that kick. So if you're going to play your kick, then you can know that, you know, say for example my track's in the key of A, that would be the highest one. That's the lowest octave that I'm going to use. So, you know, you kind of can work around tuning your stuff like that. It's quite easy. It doesn't take too long. It is a bit of a messing around, but in the end, it's definitely worth it if you're looking at having the right tune of drums and stuff like that. So I just want to show you that so you guys understand how I do it and how it's done behind the scenes. So like I said, with the snare, I kind of just got the stack of snares. I stacked up these three together, and I'll just play those to you now. So with the snare, there's the one at the top, there's one more higher frequencies, and there's one that's kind of covering some of the low frequencies here. And if I just show you this spectrometer here, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So let me just highlight one of the snares and just show you what the area that it's covering on the spectrometer here. Just watch this area here. Let's take this off. So that's kind of a full spectrum kind of EQ happening there. Then I'll play this other one to you on its own. That's covering more of the high-end frequencies and a slight part down here, which is at about 200 Hertz. I'll play this one. And this is covering more at the kind of the 1 to 800 Hertz kind of area. So that's kind of where we're looking at with these. All these combined basically get the right spectrum of the snare that I was looking for. So play those to you now. Without the kick. Alright, cool. So as you can see, with the snare, it's covering a lot of the spectrum, and I guess that's what creates the fullness in this beat, because otherwise, if I hadn't stacked them, I would have just had a snare that sounded kind of weak like you heard at the start. So I'll just play the kick and the snare originally. Now it sounds pretty cool. It's not bad, but it just doesn't sound good. In my opinion anyway. So that's the drums there. I'll just play this with the drums and the actual kind of piano type thing that I got, bell type sound. Alright, so that basically makes up the basis of the beat. The next thing was the piano, which I played out individually. I played this by hand, but I had the auto quantize on, so it quantized it for me. Because it's just it was working really well with the MPC setting. So I basically use this MPC setting here. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look at my previous video about the MPC. Play it like it is an MPC in PreSonus Studio One. It'll be on that. So I basically played out the chords. This is a piano that I was just playing, and I came up with this kind of structure here for one part of the beat. There's another part just with the low end section here, so let's click on that. This is the intro section here, so it's got the low notes, pretty much at the key of A, 2 bass notes there. And I carried on with the bass notes, but then added these top notes here, so that's highlighted there. Next part of the beat, I added this section here, which is just more of the higher notes, further up in the octaves. And again, the bass notes, and that was pretty much it for piano there. So the piano that I'm using, just so you know, is the Giant out of the Contact set of instruments that you would get in Native Instruments. So that's a Giant piano. It sounds really good for this track. And I kind of like that piano as well. So this is another part here, which I'll show to you. I'll just get rid of that and just show you these instruments here. So as you can see, all of these instruments are set up in different, I guess, playouts here. So originally these 3 instruments, I'll just move that up the top. These 3 instruments came out of, actually that's another one there. They came out of this Electrax track here that I've got, and it's just one instrument that it plays 3 different instruments in the one instrument VST. So it played 3 different types of, I guess, oscillators. One was playing like a higher sort of note. I'll just play that to you now as well. So just first play this section here. Alright, so that's actually, move that up there. Here we go. Let's play that. Okay, so that's basically, it's part of this Electrax track here, and how I got that to be in rhythm with the rest of the track was basically using the keys that I had here. I put them into MIDI onto a track on here, as you can see. Just highlight that. So this is the keys that are originally up the top there. You can see they're exactly the same. But because Electrax plays, or Tone 2 I should say, Electra 2, it plays out the instruments. You can do multi-instruments within the one VST. That's how it worked. It ended up having that kind of cool sound. So I manipulated the sound a little bit, put some filters on it and stuff like that, bounced it out, and that was like almost as good as kind of a snare, not snare, a closed hi-hat sort of thing that's going on around the track. It's kind of going from left to right and creating that rhythm inside the track as well. So that's really handy to give me rhythm on top of the other drums that I already had playing. So if I just minimize this a bit, play the drums and just that rhythm section as well, get rid of this section, I'll explain that to you in just a second. Okay, so that pretty much plays out some of the rhythm in the track and it makes it sound more alive. The other thing then that I added, which I accidentally played just before, was this part here. So all of this is a shaker of some kind, like a tambourine. And it's just a played out thing that I found within Studio One, one of the samples that I found here. All I did was line match it up to the actual tempo of the track. So originally it was like about there, I think somewhere like that. And I just tempo synced it with the track by hitting the Option Alt and then just dragging it across to the tempo. So that basically just sounds like this. Added some flavor to the track in some sections of the track and just made it sound like it was more, I guess, a real sort of instrument being played. The next thing that I did then was this part here at the intro, which is part of that Electrax instrument which I was showing you. Whistling kind of thing, just fills in the start of the track. The next thing then was this instrument here. And all that is, this part here is the piano thing that I showed you at the start. I played that out in the Electrax thing. All it comes off is that one instrument. So all I did, if I just hit Command reverse, I'll play that to you again. Alright, cool. So I had some filters on it within Electrax, and that's how I got that sound. But then all I did was reverse it, basically. And yeah, so that's it right there. You can see the whole entire track kind of comes out, and that's the basics of it. So I'll just do another breakdown of the mixing of the track later on. I just wanted to show you guys the kind of the beat breakdown and behind the scenes type stuff there, and then later on break down how I mixed it and stuff. So the bass instrument, further to that, I'll just quickly show you if you guys can just stick around for a second longer. This is the bass instrument here. This is the standard instrument within, I guess, Studio One again, my type. All I did was edit the actual attack, the decay, and the sustain and the release. Comes from a standard plugin, which is part of the preset Deno Izari, I think it is. And then I just messed around with that, set the mono and the glide, and just changed that a bit. Changed a bit of the cutoff all the way down. Changed this key down to all the way 0. And left all the reverb and stuff like that off. It's just basically got two different types of things here, so a saw wave and a square wave. and one's at a lower octave than the other. So basically that's it for the bass, and as you can hear, so that's pretty much the bass. So that's pretty much the entire track, as you can see right there. And it really comes up well when you think about how basic it actually is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I can, you know, teach you something out of this video. But otherwise, just remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and give me comments down the bottom if you have any further comments about this, or you want to see anything else on the channel. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.